This morning I just want to share with you something that I watched last night. It was a very interesting video that I watched, and I had some inspiration to share with you guys. So the video that I watched was about rejection, and it was a speech that was given by this guy who was very afraid of being rejected all his life, and he operated based on this avoidance of rejection. And then one day he felt, okay, if I continue to live like this, I am not gonna be able to do anything because he realized that he was so afraid of being rejected by other people and the world. He is rejecting himself constantly by not speaking, by not asking, by not being who he is. So one day he found out that there is something called rejection therapy. So he decided to do a challenge for himself. He wanted to do this 100-day challenge where he would go out and seek rejection every day. The motive was very pure. He did not necessarily want to get anything. He asked people for ridiculous things, but underneath it, he wasn't really there to get what he was asking for. Really, he had this curiosity to find out what he was really afraid of. What is that he was running away from all his life? Why is that this rejection is so much like a monster, and it was something that he just cannot face. So he just basically decided to face that, and he was saying that the first day he went to some random guy and asked to borrow $100 and asked whether he can do that, and the guy basically said no. And then he said why, but he basically, this guy, just after he asked and got rejected, he basically ran away. But afterwards, he reflected on it and thought, actually, it wasn't as embarrassing, as ridiculous as it felt. It wasn't that bad, and also the person gave me a chance. By asking why give me a chance to explain myself. There is actually an invitation to go into it more. So he that was his first day, and the second day he said, okay, the whole purpose today is for him just not to run, just to stay when he get no, and to continue to get engaged if there is a prompt to be engaged. So that's how he started the challenge, and there was a very fun video that he did. But what was interesting for me watching it was he talked about when he chose to go to face this deep emotion, whatever that emotion might be that he was afraid of, that would be brought up by people saying no to him. Just by going there, he found a whole world, as if it is a secret world that nobody knows. It's a world of friendliness. Is a world that he actually found out why people would say no to him is nothing about him. It's not because even his request was ridiculous. It was about all kinds of reasons. But when he chose to ask what he asked and choose to stay there and receive the answer and continue on engaging, there is a lot more that is underneath it. There is a lot more engagement. There is a lot more connection underneath it. So yeah, so I just found that video um, being very interesting because I have this inspiration to explore this topic about leadership um, in a true sense, not in terms of being in a certain position or having a particular tangible organization or project to lead. That is also included, but really a leadership from an attitude perspective, because I think um, that is very very important to everybody, because in truth we're all leaders, we're all um, leading ourselves in finding the truth that is within us, and nobody else can truly leading. If seemingly people are leading us, that's also because we decided that is the best thing for us in that period. So in a way we are still the leaders to ourselves, we're still leading. But having said that, even though we're all leaders, we're all followers as well, because we're always following something. Even when we're leading, we're all following something, and a good leader actually is a good follower. Why do I say that? A good leader has found something very very consistent that they can following. And a confused leader or confused person in general, whether they're in a leadership position or not, if someone is confused and feel weak, it's normally because they are lost and confused about what to follow. They follow one thing at one time, they want to follow other, they want to follow some kind of standard, either set by the society or set by other people's expectations or set by their own expectations. They want to follow some kind of standard they set for themselves according to a self-image they want to build, or they want to follow the rituals or the rules, or they just want to follow their inspiration. But if what you're following is so mixed, it's not consistent, then you find that you're not very clear in what you're following, and you're not very clear in the decision making, and you can't really lead with that kind of certainty. In the end, all the benefits and reward are that of a spiritual nature, that of an attitude nature. So when you actually know what to follow, is that an internal inspiration? Is that an intuition you're following? Or what you're following seem to be different in form at different period of time, but still it comes down to a very very clear parameter. You know that you're following something that is consistent, is your own integrity, is what you believe completely. Then that is the thing you're following throughout life. Like Gandhi, he followed what he believed to be true, to be truly integrous. There was nobody to look around and refer to. There was no history necessarily to refer to, but there was something that he was referring to, which comes from inside, which comes from what he feels to be his calling, and to be integrous to him, to his own heart. And in that way, I would say that Jesus, 2,000 years ago when he came, he wasn't coming down to look right and left and see that what he was presenting was agreed on, or was was something that he can follow through through other people. He was not coming down here to follow anything. He didn't really come down here to interfere what was going on in terms of socio-economic status and the structure. He wasn't come down here to basically say that things shouldn't be what they are, just abolish everything. He didn't come down to do that, but he didn't come down to follow either, because is he following something? Was he following something? Absolutely, he was following his father's will. And the only difference between him and the rest was that he follows nothing else. That was really the only difference. He was following nothing else. He followed only his father's will in absolutely everything, and he never really asked for people's advice, because he asked his father for advice constantly. He went to the mountain to commune with his guide, with his father, but not really looking back to the history, not really looking back at other people necessarily. He found something, and this thing that he found was consistent. That's made him a true leader. He was shaking the stagnation, the confusion in the thinking and in the way of being, in the way people treat each other, in the way people form enemies, people fight. But he came down here to basically pave a way of thinking that had never really been laid out that clearly. And it was clear because he was clear in who he was following. So it's interesting to lead from the topic of rejection to the topic of leadership. A true leader cannot be afraid of being rejected. A true leader have to find what they're following, and to the extent that what they're following is single, is unified, then they can be consistent. And if what they are following is from a much higher state of mind, then they become a demonstration of that high ideal and high state of mind, and what their action are based on are examples of that high state of mind and high state of being. So there is a lot to talk about in leadership, but I think I will just stop here for today.